Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Darren. In today's video, I wanted to do a little bit of an experiment and report the whole thing of me going around with the experiment. The experiment is to see just how important is gear for PvP. I've been getting a lot of questions whether, how was the best way to get gear? Is gear all that important? What is some of the best pieces of gear that I should be getting? What's the item level I should be looking for? And my question is, does gear even matter that much in Legion PvP? As far as Blizzard have, I guess, sold the expansion, they said that gear isn't going to make as big of an impact. Yes, having better gear will help to a player. Let's say you're trying to push rating and a player with better gear is going to be slightly a little bit stronger than others, but just how strong are you? So I'm currently on an assassination rogue. What I'm going to be doing for this video is I'm going to be queuing skirmishes and checking out my average damage. So what I'll be doing is I'll be running the same talent build, and my talent build is going to be a Master Poisoner, Septifuge, Vigor, Elusiveness, and Internal Bleeding, Exsanguinate, and Venom Rush. I'm basically going to not burst at an enemy. I'm just going to do sustained damage in order to stay as consistent as possible. And I'm going to spread this damage on 2 or 3 or however many enemies I can find. And I'm going to be going to this with an understanding that I will have some defensive. So I'm going to collect as much data as I can. We're going to take a look at the stats because those get normalized depending on your item level. So we're going to take a look at your agility, your stamina, just how much health you have, as well as your haste, mastery, and versatility. And then we're going to take a look at just how much damage do you deal to an enemy based on your item level. For this, I have prepared 3 different item levels. We have 823, we had 833, and 843. I will have to adjust a few pieces of gear because apparently there's one item missing, but I will be able to adjust to it accordingly. So let's start out with 823. We'll take a look at the item level and the stats that are given as we queue into skirmishes. First things first, we can tell that with just 823 item level gear, which is something you would be able to kind of get as an average more or less from PvPing and doing the world quests and maybe doing a little bit of the PvP or PvE content, you'll be able to get a few pieces of gear in order to help you be able to dish out the damage and have the health that you have. So with a lower item level, 823, you do have 2 million health. That is with an accounting for reinforced armor, which is what I'll be running, and I'll be running all my build with reinforced armor, maneuverability, unfair advantage, deadly brew, and system shock as with every other spec. No matter what build, no matter what item level, I'll also have the same PvP spec. We also take a look at the stats. We have 16.6k agility, 31k stamina, 28% critical strike, 13% haste, 79% mastery, and 10% versatility. So again, I am not going to be using any of my cooldowns in order to be able to dish out damage. I'm simply just going to be using sustained damage as well as my artifact weapon in order to make this work at most. I'm actually dealing decent damage, and we were able to force a defensive out of the paladin fairly early on. I'm going to just spread my damage a little bit over here. Might be able to maybe catch a kick from the healer. That's Bubble, so I'm going to swap to the Demon Hunter. Gonna put a Garroting Demon Hunter in a little bit. Alright, Garroting both targets. Still going back on the Paladin. Our healer's about to die. So we might... Actually, no, our healer bubbled. So we might be able to live. Stun goes out onto the enemy healer. Exsanguinate is out as well. Gonna pop Faint. And we actually won! We were able to... I feel like we were able to deal a decent amount of damage. I can queue into more skirms, and I probably will, in order to just be able to compare the numbers. But I felt like I didn't pop any burst, and it was really just a coordination with the enemy, with their friendly. And it's all about training the healer. As you will see, the Demon Hunter definitely did do more damage than me because I didn't even use Vendetta in the opener, but you can see just the damage split between me and the Demon Hunter. I'm actually kind of interested just with the numbers that we got. So if we look at the bottom, we have Rupture, Deadly, Poison, Garrote, and Mutilate as my main forms of damage. My Rupture average was about a 27k. So we're going to be taking a look at the averages after dealing out the damage. So the average with a low item level set is 27k for Rupture, Deadly Poison is about 13k, Garrote is about 30k, although I feel like we should throw out Garrote because of the opener, so that number isn't really consistent. Your Mutilate is dealing about almost 40k damage, your Kingsbane deals about 35. Then we have an 833 item level, and off the bat we can see that our stamina didn't really change on the numbers, but we do have a little bit more agility, a little bit more stamina, but not by much, as you can see. I think it's only like 200 difference in stamina, and for the most part my stats didn't really change. So let's take a look at the finalized numbers after this arena. Chances are I'm probably going to end up sitting on a Marksman Hunter and popping not more burst, but basically all of my main abilities. I do have a Blood Death Knight, so I am going to allow my the enemy to open up on a Blood DK, because I feel like the Blood DK will be able to live long enough in order to survive the onslaught of both the Hunter and the DK. I have no poisons. Actually, I don't have my poisons available, so let me just die in this BG or in this arena, and I'll just apply my poisons after this. I completely forgot to apply poisons. Alright, queuing up, making sure that we have poisons this time before we enter the arena. I was just messing around with the item levels, trying to get it to 833. So what we are trying to find is just how much of a difference in damage does 10 item levels do for you. So be able to compare a difference of like 10 item levels or 20 item level spread, and seeing just if there's any kind of benefit. So let's say you have, that's an average of 820 gear at maximum for PvP. Maybe you will get 820 from doing a little bit of heroics and a little bit normal BGs, not really doing any rated PvP, and then rated PvP gives you 840. So we'll see the number difference of just 10 item levels and then 20 to see if there's a big like reason to get gear, and what is the biggest importance in terms of collecting gear as a rogue. Again, stats didn't really change all that much. I don't think the enhanced stats right here didn't change much either, but in the 840 item level, or close to 840, I think we'll see some big changes, but we never know. I'm gonna trinket that though. Uh-oh, now it's just me and a monkus. So this is gonna be a little bit uncomfortable for me to do, because I feel like I'm losing this. Yep, losing this 100%. But let's see what kind of damage I was able to deal while I was losing. My Garrode, I'm not gonna discount. Look at it. My deadly poison that felt like didn't deal that much damage. I feel like the numbers were a little bit weird in terms of I was really not able to get a long enough fight. So I think all the damage I was able to pull off was reduced. So the numbers were definitely lower. When it came to the very first scrim that I did, we sat on the Paladin for a while, and then I had Bleeze also taking on the Demon Hunter. I also had Garrode taking on both Demon Hunter and the Paladin. So I felt like I had a way better session in terms of, you know, collection of numbers in order to be able to compare. The last game I really didn't have that good of a session. It was kind of short, and most of my damage was countered by the Hunter using Turtle Shell or aspect of the Turtle, and then the Monk, I'm pretty sure he used the Brew. Damage reduction and healing, or a health increase brew. That's Demon Hunter form coming out. I'm going to get some damage out onto the Priest. Actually gonna get the Priest trinket, exsanguinate early, interrupt the eruption, get a Garrode on him, Shadow Mending, kidney that. Not a lot I can really do at this point, so maybe if I can get a Rupture on the Demon Hunter. It is a low combo point Rupture, but at least we're getting solid numbers. So we can take a look at the numbers. We have Deadly Poison damage at about 12k, we had Rupture at about 19k, Deadly Poison is actually took over, Garrode to 27k. I feel like I need to redo this one as well, because a good chunk of my damage, especially through Exsanguinate, was used on an enemy where I used Exsanguinate and they countered it with Dispersion. So all the damage, or majority of that damage, was simply ignored. Now some of you guys might be asking me, hey Dalaran, isn't it stupid to just like go into actual arenas or skirms where people are going to use defensives and offensives and CC you? Wouldn't it be better to just get up with a bunch of friends or something and do a 2v2 war game where I can just use an enemy as a training dummy? On one hand, I could do that. On the other hand, I don't have friends. I mean, when you play WoW all day, you just lose friends totally. But on the other hand, I feel like it's a little more fun when you go into realistic PvP situations and try to see what kind of numbers you would be getting. Maybe I could stun him again and invent him again. Yes, that was nice. The damage we took a look at is 28k from Garrode, about 24k from the Rupture. We got Deadly Poison for about 13k, Mutilate for about 44k, Kingsbane. So we do see some damage increases here and there, but I will have to go look at the numbers and compare them. I might need to go slide back down to the lower item level and see how it goes. Alright, well this guy, we still have these Demon Hunter running around, still with dots ticking. I'm just going to allow my dots to tick their full duration. That's really what I'm looking at. Yeah, yes, live. The longer you live, the more data I have to collect. Yes, yes. Well, I just failed my friendly neighborhood mage completely. I failed him. He thinks I'm a loser now. I'm sorry, guy. How is this Demon Hunter still getting Demon Form Metamorphosis up and up over and over? I think he's dead. Yeah. Woo! Easy. I dealt more damage than my mage, fire mage friend, yet I didn't pop cooldowns. Interesting. So my damage that happened this game Garrote about 29k, Rupture about 26k, Deadly Poison about 15k, Kingsbane for about 41k average, Mutilates for about 45k. Okay, so we're starting to see some trends. I think I'll do one more as this item level, and I'll move on into the 840s. This video is going to be a long video. We got Destruction Warlock and Armor's Warrior. I feel like going Warlock is the best way to go, mainly because Warlocks are kind of spooky these days. And as defenses out of the Warrior, so this is perfect. Completely stunning the Warlock on his damage. Gonna get dots on the Warrior as well. Gonna silence the Warlock, or whatever silence I guess I could have used, just isn't available right now. Kick him on the fears. I think we can still destroy the Warrior. Yes, we still have defensive, so we can make this work. I'm gonna pop my bleeds, and I'm just gonna kite the Warrior. There's literally no point in me attacking him. And he has a 10% damage reduction, or 20% damage reduction at all times, so this is going to kind of bump my numbers down a little bit. Let's get a nice good Envenom in there. Awesome. I'm gonna dot him up and then run myself. No need to. Oh yes! How are me and this mage doing this? Deadly Poison definitely was majority of the damage. Then there's Rupture, Kingsbane, Garrote, Mutilate. Wow. Okay. I am not sure if I am seeing a big trend of damage differences in terms of like, whoa, 20 item levels is a huge damage increase. As I can see, my agility didn't really increase by that much. 20 item levels and the difference of agility is only about 100. Is that right? Is that correct? Wow, that was some damage. Look at that charts, man. Assassination, all 3 kills. And I liked it. We have about 16k average worth of damage. Deadly Poison had about 9.3k. Mutilate was about 29k. Garrote was 17k. Kingsbane was 29k. Mutilate offhand, or don't need to see that because damage is going to be different. Mutilate is going to be a little higher. So it was a lot of damage reduction for this whole team, it seems. It is surprising to see though, the fact that the change of stats is way different. Let's say Mastery 79, H73 is 1% change. Is that the other stats too? I actually can't. I'm not going to be changing that to see if it is true or not. Here we go. Nice! Oh, Warforged! Awesome. I think that's the best way to end this. We got a Warforged trinket. Awesome. I think that's the best way to end this, dude. What kind of trinket is it? Crit and increase your maximum health. Nice. That is useless. The numbers that I got this time were, just make sure everything is total. This is good. So, final conclusion, does gear make a big difference in PvP? It will give you better numbers, but having 20 item level difference between you and somebody who is, let's say you're a casual player and somebody who's a hardcore player, the 20 item level difference shouldn't be a restriction for you. Your artifact weapon is more of a restriction, and as long as you're taking care of that and putting artifact points into it, then you should be good, as everybody else is basically on the same level with artifact weapons. However, if you do have, let's say, an alt or an off-spec where you have 0 artifact power invested into the weapon, you are going to see some differences in terms of your health primarily. But that's really as far as it goes, is mostly your stamina, mainly because of this effect, where your stamina increased by 0.75% for every trade purchased up to 34 trades. In terms of damage, I don't think it does that much. So I think Legion did a pretty good job in terms of gear and PvP and how they kind of saw the expansion as, hey, gear is going to matter a little less. I think they did a pretty good job so far. But I don't know. But this is what I derived from this, guys. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about item levels and PvP and if it makes that big of a difference or not. Again, I did this on an Assassination Rogue at a lower item level in order to be able to get more consistent numbers. I use same talents for PvP and class talents in order to be able to provide similar numbers. I tried to do as similar of damage as possible, and I tried to make as many takes as I could based on how much defensives were the other team putting out. For example, the first game was a lot of different numbers, a lot of variations of bursting numbers and non-defense and defensive-based numbers, so it gave me a pretty good outlook. We took a look at the general stats of agility, stamina, armor, critical strike, haste, mastery, versatility, and my final conclusion on this is gear does matter, but not too amazingly for PvP. It's not a huge game changer, which makes me kind of happy. So, Again, let me know what you guys think about this video. I'm gonna go raid, so I'll see you guys in the next one.